Okay, let's go to AK.
Joining us on
so he cannot hate coming on the show because he doesn't
just
love waiting online.
we just leave him on hold for half the segment.
AK, sorry about that, bud. I'm a little rusty.
Joining us on the Warhorse Sportsbook Hotline is Andy Kendeigh. What's up, bud?
Love you guys. What's happening? Welcome back.
Thank you. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I'm back.
Oh my God, we were chatting in the sports office yesterday. And Buster goes, DB's back, and I'm like, he is?
Yeah.
I was like, DB, he's back. He's back. We were like, all right, little air fist pump.
Listen, I was with Kugler yesterday for like an hour and some change. If you could have been a fly on the wall, he's probably like, man, how are you even a functioning adult? It's great.
Well, it's good to have you back. And, I before we get into this, I do want to, because I brought up Matt Foster, I want to give a big salute because Matt Foster's last day is today at KETV. So 4+ years, and Matt Foster is moving on. And I cannot thank the guy enough. The guy.
Well, you have lost some. You guys have lost some good ones.
Yes, we have. That's it's it's part of the business, as you guys know, and this is one of the bad parts of the business. But he's one of the all-timers, and I cannot tell you how much work that guy does. He's first one in, last one out, and man, he's going to be missed dearly, and I wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
So do I start rethinking the Big Red Zone thing now, or are we like well, I can't hit curveballs, so you better tee this one up for me.
Well, the word that keeps coming up when thinking about that is leverage, DB. So you have leverage, or you have hands.
I'm like, so well, who am I going to be talking to now?
Well, that's $10,000 question.
All right, we'll get there.
We'll figure that out in the next couple weeks.
Good for Matty, man. The married life got him.
Yep, you got it. You got that right.
Yeah. AK, do you kind of feel like Matt Rule a little bit? People are coming in trying to pick some people off of your staff and maybe try and get them to bigger and better places. Like, I mean, it's got to be tough, but it's also got to be nice when you see people progress in their lives and careers, right?
I do feel a little bit like that because I felt like Matt Rule and stumping for Tony White getting the UCLA job. You're trying to go for the UCLA job. Listen, I get where we're at, and if people want to look and move on, I am all for it. It is all about the individual. So yeah, no, it is interesting. It's an interesting comparison because I know people were like, wow, why would Matt Rule go out and stump for Tony White to get another job? Head coach? Well, you want the best for your people,
yeah, and
you want them to be successful and be happy. So I totally get where Matt Rule's coming from with that whole Tony White thing. So good on him, and that's the way we believe too.
You know, it's interesting. You kind of watch to see whether the proof's in the pudding, and he said all along, hey, I want my guys to be successful. I think eventually it comes back around when you do right by people. It's just the right thing to do. And he's not afraid to let guys go or send guys away to get experience, then bring them back. Like he's a total chess checkers guy, kind of a little bit of a throwback in this cutthroat business of actually investing in other people.
No doubt about it. I mean, just look at what we just saw this past week with Glenn Thomas. There's a guy that obviously worked with him. And the thing that came up with Rule and Thomas when we talked to him on Monday was the trust factor. Like, it was a no-brainer to bring this guy back. And why did Matt Rule bring this guy back? Because he trusts him. He knows he's going to do what Matt Rule wants to do. He's one of us, as Matt Rule says. And that's so important when you're building a staff at that level, and if you got guys you can trust, you don't have to henpeck. You don't have to be standing over their shoulder saying, "Hey, don't do this, do that," because you know it and you've been through it before. And having that experience of having that guy on staff is only going to help this team moving forward. Now, the dynamic I was interested in seeing play out is him with Thomas and Marcus Satterfield. Now that's kind of weird, especially because they got the same the title in their job description or whatever. But, credit to Coach Rule last week. He said, no. Okay, it does say co-offensive coordinator, whatever. But Marcus Satterfield, he's going to be calling the plays, but it's a collaborative effort. Thomas is a collaborative co-coordinator, if you will. So I thought that was interesting that right away, boom, he set the pecking order and saying, this is how the jobs are, the job descriptions are, and we're going to work together to make it to make this thing work. So, and Thomas said as much. He said he's known Satterfield for decades. So, it's always an interesting deal where people get all uncomfortable about, hey, these guys have the same title. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? No, it's all about the one thing, and that's the product on the field and doing the best by your guys.
So you could even take your business and kind of what you do. Omaha is one of those weird markets where it's like it's really, really close. It should, the whole metered market thing, and it's a great sports market, but it's always like the stepping stone, and you have to embrace that, right? Like AK, you got to know.
No doubt.
Hey, okay, I get it. This could be temporary, but I'm going to give you everything I've got because I'm for you. And you've gotten some gems out of that. It's funny to me to watch this work and to see guys that talk about trust and they kind of sound the same and they're unified. And it's still kind of novel. You think we would be moving more towards, hey, this works. Why aren't we more like this, where I can cheer for somebody else and it very well may be at my expense?
Yeah, no question. But here's the deal. Like you brought up a great point. I will bring up a conversation that Ellie French and I had 6 months ago or 8 months ago. And I don't think she'd mind us me telling this. Like Ellie and I, we were talking about her future and her contract was coming up, and that's just part of the business. And Ellie, to her credit, saying, "Hey, this is what I have in front of me. What do you think?" And as her boss, but more importantly as her friend, I'm like, "Listen, Ellie, if you were my daughter, this is what I would say.
Ooh.
You need to go and branch out and see what's out beyond Omaha and what that gives you in Green Bay, and that means covering the NFL. There is nothing like covering an NFL team. I've done it. I know it. On a week-to-week basis, you're going to run into people nationally that you wouldn't run into at Memorial Stadium. Is that good or bad? No, it's not a knock. It's just the truth." I said, "Ellie, I am all for you moving on to Green Bay if that's going to better your career, and I think it will." And so she's doing a bang-up job. She got to go cover the NFL and the Green Bay Packers on a week-to-week basis, and she got to cover the NFL playoffs, making contact that she would never have had in Omaha. So, yes, while it hurt us in the short term, it helps her in the long term. And that's seriously what this is all about, because I've been on both sides.
There's no way I'm comparing you, AK, to Matt Rule, but I remember Xavier Betts, and I told this story on air. Matt Rule said to me when he called, he said, "DB, if it were my son, I wouldn't let him quit." And I remember I almost dropped the phone. I was so moved by the fact that he would say that. If it were my son, I would not let him quit. And you just said, if it were my daughter, this is what I would say, right? See, that emotional investment, it just, it's not as common as we think. It's simple, not easy.
100% DB, and that's the truth.
Andy Kendeigh, KETV, good stuff as always. AK, we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks,
Happy
AK.
Valentine's Day.
Appreciate you.
Coming up next, Anna Bellinghausen here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.